Welcome back to the shop. I've been struggling for content lately. I've been very busy. I've been helping my little brother remodel a bathroom, and then another buddy of mine has been remodeling a house, so I've been volunteering some of my time to them. You've got some neat tools that I'll show you along the way, and I've been getting a little bit of video of the bathroom remodel, but that's probably a couple months out. So I'm behind on everything. Behind on the YouTube, behind on watching YouTube, behind on all of my projects. I've got vehicle problems that I'm tending to. This is out of my F-250. I've been dealing with that. Broken cooler wheels. I runs the whole gamut, but it's good. Nothing serious, just a bunch of little problems. And I figured I would make sort of maybe it's an off-ball video today, but I just wanted to talk about the way I think and and the way I comment on some of the videos. For the longest time, whenever I see anybody talk about vice grips, I always think, vice grips suck. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always had a disdain for vice grips because usually they end up rounding off a bolt or ruining some particular device because they're a last-ditch effort. I don't have any pictures of it, but I used to have a three-wheeler, a Honda three-wheeler, and somebody had the shifter had broke off, and some meatball before me went ahead and put a vice grip on there to shift it, and just bent that shaft up and effectively ruined the bike. And since then, I've just hated that. I've been angry at that guy, whoever that was that did that. And it sort of would show through in my comments about how much I really didn't like vice grips, or how much I thought I didn't like vice grips. And as I'm going around cleaning the shop the other day, I said, man, for a guy that doesn't like vice grips, you sure got a lot of them. and I probably don't have as many as most of you guys do. But man, I really was surprised. What I say and what I do are completely different. It's that cognitive dissonance. My behaviors don't suit, what comes out of my mouth. And I try to limit that as much as I can, but in this particular case, it's an egregious violation. I've been harping on vice grips, but I do rely on them. There is a time and there is a place for them. In particular, I think, the welding, these clamps, as goofy as these suckers look, these have been remarkably handy when I was putting the bed on the F-250. Scoutcrafter turned me onto these Monster, these are Pittsburgh. Monster Master. Two different kinds. Okay, these are the Monster Master. This was like $10 for two of them. What a great deal. These have just been handy. I really enjoy these things. The long ones, I don't get a lot of use out of these, but they're handy. I think I use them around the barbecue grill more often than not. The more sheet metal stuff, you can see these are in pretty bad disrepair, but these little things have been great for when I was rebuilding the back walls, the metal studs, great for holding those together. And every time I use my drill press, I use this one. This one screws right down into the table. Just been an indispensable tool. And my older brother Nick had gotten me this a couple of years ago, and it just sits there. I guess why not open it? And it does a little bit of everything. It's a vice grip and a crescent wrench all in one. Pretty amazing. And I don't see why that wouldn't be, you could be in a tough spot. It's probably undoubtedly a little tchotchke-ish. Maybe not the most practical tool, but it's pretty neat. We'll have to actually use it now that it's out of the case and see if it's useful. But it's funny. Do you have any tools that you think you don't like that you have a lot of? I was really surprised at how many. I know I have more, but these are great, and I think that you really need to run the whole gamut with these things. This particular set is a cheapo set, and I think there's always room for cheapo tools because I had to grind the end of this down to modify it to hold on to something. And you don't want to do that with a name brand set. I wouldn't want to take a perfectly good set of vice grips and grind these down unnecessarily. But that's pretty funny funny to realize that I have as many of these as I do. While I'm at it, let's talk about some other stuff that I hate but I find use for nonetheless. Bungee cords. I think bungee cords are a crutch for people that don't know how to tie knots. Let me just show you a little bit of the rope that I have. Now I have ropes in each one of the trucks, but I have snatch ropes, kinetic snatch ropes. I have wire ropes. I have 3-stranded ropes. I have block and tackle, boom vang type ropes. I've got ropes off of utility truck lifting pole. I've got 12 plate big anchor line. I have big lengths of fall protection line. And that's just what I have right here. I've got quite a bit more rope over at my little brother's house. Thousands and thousands of feet of the big stuff. It just was too hard to move around to bring over here. So I have a lot of rope. I appreciate all sizes and types of rope. And bungee cords tend to be, you know, bungee cords tend to be, they're not reliable. They can pop you in the eye. They can do all sorts of stuff. But as of lately, I found that they've been quite handy for tarps and holding coolers down in the back of the truck. And they're a little bit of a time-saving unit. So it's something that, just like the vice grips, I would say that I typically don't like, but I find myself using them from time to time. Here's my F-250. Got more rope back there. But I have bungee cords in the back. I found that putting a little tarp, these ground tarps, cost $6 or $8 on Amazon. They're nice because people can't see in the back of the truck if I have tools or equipment or anything back here. You know, it's hard for them to see what I've got, and we don't have a big problem with theft around here. But it's because I don't avail myself to those things. It also keeps the cooler out of the sun on the weekends when I'm out working doing stuff. To preserve the ice a little bit with a cheapy little cooler like this is pretty handy. So again, that's just another application of when the bungee cords are useful. And I've got the same thing in the back in my Chevy. Same little tarp. I've also grown to hate gas things. I've gone more electric than not up until recently with the storms, and now I've started to amass some chainsaws. So that, you know, just another example of where you develop an opinion and then the scenarios change and you end up, you know, reevaluating your position on these things. Again, there's a time and a place for electric stuff, and then there's certain times where you need more powerful things like gas chainsaw. There's probably enough lamenting about how my brain doesn't act like my mouth does.